Watch out, everyone! This is your warning. Uncle KC is giving you plenty of time to prepare because Angel Reese is about to explode!
Here we go again. Angel Reese is out here throwing a full-blown tantrum about her first bad decision from the WNBA referees, and suddenly everyone wants to act like this is some groundbreaking moment of injustice. But does she realize that Caitlin Clark has been injured literally because of these same refs? Because the WNBA can't get their decisions right, and Clark has been paying the price all season long, while Reese sat in silence.
Welcome if you're new. Angel Reese, man, she ended up stepping into this presser right here and just going off on this ref. And I have to agree, man, if the ref really said this to her,
I think we fought really hard. It's tough when you talk to officials and I asked them, hey, we only shot 2 free throws. We only went to the free throw line twice up into the fourth quarter, and she tells me it's not her job.
Angel Reese is fully ranting on social media and even in her press conference, acting like she's the first player in WNBA history to get a bad call. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever has had to deal with this nonsense every single game, watching their superstar get hammered night after night while officials swallow their whistles. But when it happens to the golden child from Chicago, suddenly it's time for a press conference meltdown.
Game, but Angel Reese did make history again, and we're gonna talk about this real quick because Angel Reese been kind of quiet in her department. You know what I'm saying? There ain't really been a whole lot of noise. At least people really haven't been paying attention to it. That is until today. Yesterday, Angel Reese, said what she said in the.
It's tough when you talk to officials and I ask them, hey, we've only been to the free throw line twice up until the fourth quarter, and she tells me it's not her job, Reese said. And I don't give a damn if I get fined because that is cheap, and I'm tired of this.
Frustrating because I know how hard we're battling inside, and I think that we came down and fought as hard as we could with what we had, and I just know that we continue to grow in this, and I think it's the leaping step for us, and obviously we know we can compete with the best, but that has to be fixed, and I don't give a damn if I get fined because that's cheap, and I am tired of this because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am tired.
Because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am tired of this. Oh, you've been nice and humble? Where was this energy when Caitlin Clark was getting destroyed by reckless fouls all season? The hypocrisy is absolutely staggering. Reese posted on social media calling the officiating diabolical and telling the WNBA to do better. But when Clark was taking cheap shots left and right, when she was being targeted by players looking to make a statement, Angel Reese was nowhere to be found.
Throughout her first 2 years in the WNBA, Angel Reese has been the same way. On paper, the double-double diva looks great, but just like Derek Carr, Angel Reese does not impact
winning.
Since the Bayou Barbie became the Chi-Town Barbie, the Chicago Bravado are 18-39. They have been one of the worst teams in a league that is filled with bad teams. And oftentimes, Angel Reese will blame everyone but herself for her huge embarrassment.
Let's talk about what actually happened here. In the Sky's 80-75 loss to the Minnesota Lynx, Chicago attempted just 8 free throws, compared to Minnesota's 17. Reese had 16 points on 16 shot attempts, all in the paint, and only got to the line twice. That's frustrating, sure, but compare that to what Caitlin Clark has endured this entire season, getting hammered on every drive, taking hits that would make NFL players wince, and watching referees act like they're blind.
it's a problem. It's a problem, man. The ref calls are terrible, all right? And also, I know that they're human. Y'all hear me say that every time. But they have to do something to alleviate how bad the calls are, man. It's not fair most of the time across the board. And we know the players that have the special whistle. Now, we saw it for sure in that Aces game. Oh, my goodness, man. It was ridiculous, man. But anyway, man, I feel Angel Reese's pain on that one. She did have some plays where I was like, she probably could have got a foul in that one. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, it just didn't go there.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. The worst part? Something even more egregious happened with Sydney Colson. She won a completely clean ball and got called for a foul instead. The referees looked at a textbook steal and somehow decided it was a foul. But you know what Sydney Colson did? She asked for a challenge got it overturned, and moved on with her life. She didn't throw a social media tantrum or hold a press conference to cry about it, yet Angel Reese has one call that doesn't go her way. One call, and she's ready to burn down the entire officiating department. The problem is, when this happens to other players, they have to get on with it. They don't get sympathy tours or viral social media campaigns. They certainly don't get the entire basketball world rallying around them after a single bad call.
So Angel Reese comes out and she decides to, in her press conference after the game that they lost the other day, to talk about the officials and how they're not calling the fouls. And she was complaining about how, to the official, how she, is not going to the free throw line. There's not been enough of them going to the free throw line because they're not.
Or, like Caitlin Clark, they have to be sidelined, injured. Clark missed games this season because of the physical abuse she's taken, much of which went uncalled by these same referees. She's dealt with groin injuries, quad strains, and constant contact that would have lesser players in the hospital. But where was Angel Reese's outrage then? Where was her press conference demanding better protection for players? Caitlin Clark didn't deserve the reckless fouls she's taken all season. The footage is there for anyone who wants to see it. Cheap shots, late hits, and dangerous plays that the referees allowed to continue because they were afraid to protect the league's biggest star. Clark has been arguing with refs all season, even from the bench while injured, because she knows the officiating has been atrocious.
Numbers. Now, her fans is also voicing frustration about the way Angel Reese is actually being treated and handled on the basketball court, bro. They're not liking these type of plays. It's embarrassing by the WNBA. We're not going to tolerate the harassment and the attack. They're basically saying it's an attack on Angel Reese, but they're just really boxing her out, trying to get the rebounds because they know she's going to do everything in her business to try to get the damn rebound.
But Angel Reese never came out to protect her, never sent a tweet, never held a press conference, never said a word about the obvious targeting that was happening to the player who single-handedly elevated women's basketball to unprecedented heights. The silence was deafening, and it spoke volumes about where Reese's priorities really lie. Yet one foul against her and she goes off like this? The double standard is absolutely mind-blowing. When Clark was getting cheap-shotted by Connecticut Sun players, when she was taking elbows to the head, when she was being pushed to the ground by players who couldn't guard her legitimately, Reese was probably liking tweets celebrating it. But Angel Reese complaining about it now, after staying silent through months of abuse directed at Caitlin Clark, is the height of selective outrage. Where was this passion when Clark was dealing with flagrant fouls that weren't even called? Where was this energy when Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White was getting technical fouls for defending her players against obvious missed calls?
So she really doesn't give a damn if she gets fined for this. So, which, I mean, I don't have a problem with her saying this. Y'all know that if you watch my channel, you know that I have been critical of Angel Reese and her play, but I actually believe in what she's saying here. At the same time, she also has to understand that people that watch these games also see her foul the shit out of people and don't get called.
The truth is, Angel Reese only cares about officiating when it affects Angel Reese. She trademarked me-bounds instead of speaking up about player safety. She built her brand on manufactured drama instead of addressing the real issues plaguing the league. And now, after one game where the calls didn't go her way, she wants to be the voice of referee reform? It's particularly rich coming from someone who has benefited from questionable calls throughout her career. Reese has made a living grabbing rebounds off her own missed shots and getting favorable whistles in the paint. But again, where was this advocacy when Caitlin Clark was setting records for taking contact without getting calls? Where was the league-wide outcry when the face of women's basketball was being targeted by players who couldn't stop her any other way?
One thing I kept seeing in this game, man, they were doing really well starting out. They came out strong, looking pretty decent, but they have so many moments where they're looking good, and then all of a sudden, they have a long stretch of tough shot, ill-advised shot, bad shot selection. Like, it gets bad.
The Chicago Sky's struggles aren't entirely about officiating. They're 5-12 because they're not a good basketball team. Reese's shooting percentages have declined from her rookie year, her turnovers have nearly doubled, and her overall impact on winning has been minimal. But instead of looking in the mirror and working on her game, it's easier to blame the referees for a team that can't compete with elite squads like Minnesota. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to break records and elevate her teammates despite playing through injuries caused by the same officiating inconsistencies that Reese is now complaining about. When Clark faces bad calls, she argues her case and keeps playing. When she gets injured because of poor officiating, she rehabs and comes back stronger. When Angel Reese faces one bad call, she holds a press conference, launches a social media campaign, and acts like she's the first player in league history to be wronged by referee.
It went to the middle of the backboard and went to the left side. She grabbed the rebound, shot it back on the other side. Grabbed the rebound again and shot it back in the middle. She had 5 rebounds in a 30-second span and scored no points.
Nuts.
I don't want to hear nothing. When you go 4 for 16 and you taking point blank range shots, you're not very good. You're not very good.
What makes this even more frustrating is that Angel Reese has had opportunities all season to use her platform for positive change. She could have spoken up about player safety when Clark was getting targeted. She could have advocated for better officiating when it was affecting multiple players across the league. Instead, she chose to stay silent until it personally affected her. The timing of this outrage is suspect at best. Angel Reese decides that now is the time to speak up about referee bias. It's convenient activism at its worst. And let's be clear about something. Sophie Cunningham's situation was actually worse than what happened to Reese, but she handled it like a professional. She didn't need a therapy session disguised as a press conference.
Like the other day, I watched Sophie Cunningham go for a scramble on the ground and basically get almost in a rear naked choke, and no foul was called. I mean, so the officiating in the WNBA is trash. We all know it's trash, and if they want us as fans to take this league seriously, they have got to do something about the fouls. I mean, I have literally seen jump shots where nobody even touches the person and they get called for a foul. But I've also seen people go drive in a lane and get their head taken off and no foul.
The contrast is telling. When other players face bad calls, they deal with it and keep playing. When Caitlin Clark faces systematic targeting and dangerous plays, she argues from the bench while injured and continues to perform at an elite level. When Angel Reese faces one questionable call, the entire basketball world needs to stop and acknowledge her suffering. Look, nobody is defending bad officiating. The referees in the WNBA have been inconsistent all season, and it's affected every team and every player. It's about making sure Angel Reese gets her calls. The real issue here isn't the officiating, though that certainly needs improvement. The real issue is the culture of victimhood that allows certain players to cry foul only when it affects them personally. Angel Reese had the platform and the opportunity to be a leader on officiating reform. Instead, she chose to be a bystander until it became personally inconvenient.
There was a play where everybody remembers when Kennedy Carter just shoved Caitlin Clark, but she didn't even have the ball. There were flagrant fouls, hard fouls on Caitlin Clark, and everybody told her to get up, gain some weight, get some muscle, stop whining, stop crying, you in the big leagues now. Caitlin Clark's reaction to all of it was very professional. She got back up and she played. She got back up and she freaking played the game of basketball.
Caitlin Clark has faced more questionable calls, more dangerous plays, and more systematic bias than any player in recent WNBA history. She's been sidelined by injuries that resulted from poor officiating decisions. She's argued with referees from the bench while recovering from injuries caused by their missed calls. But she's never held a press conference, demanding special treatment or social media sympathy. The message Angel Reese is sending is clear. Officiating only matters when it affects her. Player safety only matters when she's the one at risk. If Angel Reese really cared about improving officiating in the WNBA, she would have spoken up months ago when Caitlin Clark was getting mauled on a nightly basis. She would have used her platform to advocate for all players, not just herself. She would have shown the leadership that comes with being a professional athlete with influence and reach.
Even though by the end of the game, the Lynx actually had more personal fouls than the Sky, Angel Reese still continued to go off on the internet. And she ended by saying she don't care about the fine, the refs need to do better. With how bad we've seen the WNBA refs been this year, does Angel Reese have a point?
So I know it's frustrating.
Or is she just complaining to make change?
Instead, we got silence when it mattered and outrage when it became personal. That's not leadership, that's opportunism. And it's exactly the kind of behavior that undermines legitimate efforts to improve the game for everyone. The WNBA deserves better officiating, but it also deserves better from its players. But Angel Reese's selective activism after months of silence speaks volumes about her true motivations. It's not about making the game better. It's about making sure she gets preferential treatment when things don't go her way.